Greetings, GameCola faithful, and welcome to the GameCola podcast. This is podcast number 158. We're never early or late. You can maybe argue with that if you want to. I am your host and podcast commander, Joseph Martin, joined by...
I'm Blue Rider, and I would argue with that.
I am a Leaf. I go by Leaf or Dan.
I'm a human, and I go by Jeddy.
Oh no, what am I? I didn't get to say what I am.
Now
I have to have an existential crisis.
So here we have a color, a leaf, and...
Yeah, but is that a species?
Yes, today on the podcast, we're joined by my good friend Dan. You've heard Dan on the some other Hacks and Slash podcasts. So, welcome back to the GameCola space. Happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be a Game Colon today.
Yes, thank you. It's great to have some Game Colons.
We did a poll.
Colon an option on that poll? Because
I don't
I
know.
think we're going to have to re-poll.
It was an option. It did not win.
Well, what did win?
GameCola faithful.
Ah, yes, of course. It's hard
Well,
to
the
beat
Game
that.
Cola faithful are the people that listen. The Game Colons are the people that record.
I don't know, I
Oh.
feel pretty faithful to GameCola, personally.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those Venn diagram things of like, well, the faithful are just the fans, but the colons can include the staff as well.
Yes.
Who aren't fans. The staff who hate GameCola.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually what happens, right? I mean, that happened to Blue, is that, you start as a super fan, and then you join the staff, and then you slowly grow to hate GameCola.
You hate? Well, I'm not there yet.
Yes.
That would be a pretty quick turnaround.
I'll keep you updated.
Your journey.
This is a podcast about video games. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Well, I thought we
I
were
am
going to talk
faithful
about
enough to know that.
Videog
Wow.
Aims. Videog Aims.
We're making a lot of reference to the polls on the YouTube community.
Yeah, they've been great.
They have...
The
They're lots of fun.
If you don't know, I don't know if we had started doing them last podcast, but I started just going through and every day putting up some kind of stupid poll on the GCdotnet, the letter G, the letter C, the word dot, the word net, YouTube community page, which sometimes will show up in people's home feeds. Sometimes will show up in home feeds of people who have no idea who GameCola is.
And yet
Yeah.
they vote.
Not only will they like select sometimes I'll leave options that are like, who are you and why am I seeing this poll? And they'll get like 40% of the responses. There was one guy who like even commented like, I don't know what this is. It just keeps showing up in my feed.
Yeah, there was one where it was like, name a more iconic duo, and every single one was like Jeddy and not playing video games for 10 years or something. And the person was like, I have no clue who any of these people are. It's like, well, yeah.
Yes.
It's because you're unfaithful.
Jeddy not
Yes, the
playing
GameCola unfaithful.
the current decade had 43% of the votes. I voted for it, so I'm pretty pleased.
Beautiful.
Today's poll is not stupid. It's just unless I'm like not getting the joke.
It's a little bit of a joke. It's not your favorite Ace Attorney game. It's your favorite Ace Attorney subtitle.
Ah,
Yeah, and one of them is Ace Attorney.
Yeah.
I see.
Because that game is called... so I literally just went on Wikipedia, looked up the list of Ace Attorney games, and saw that 6 of them were bolded. I was like, okay, well, what can I do with this? And I was like, I see. Because I wanted to keep the premise short. I find we get more votes if like the shorter I can make the initial question.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the shortest pitch? Of like, because otherwise it's like, what's your favorite mainline Ace Attorney game that isn't the one that is Apollo Justice? So
I don't know. That's pretty snappy to me.
Put that on a t-shirt.
All right, if you all have done it, if you all have been doing it, what's been your favorite poll so far?
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
There's
Or
so
you don't,
many.
it doesn't have to be favorite. Just pick one for the sake of discussion.
Pick a genre, the ones that are just complete gibberish. I love all of them, but the ones the video game one, can't say it correctly.
Blue, what?
Games, video games, video games, video games, S super. Hilarious. And the question, straight, simple, to the point, video games?
Yeah.
If you don't even understand them, is my favorite genre.
I was sad that the Who Is Your Favorite GameCola alter ego lacked Luap Nesnarf.
Yeah, that's I only had so many slots. That comes. The limit of 5 slots is.
Yeah,
What
well,
is
also,
a man?
Luap Nesnarf, I believe, is very old. I don't think it's been referenced in, 15 years.
Yeah, that might be part of it too.
Yeah.
Though I mean, I did what was it? The ominous voice. That one's
that was a good one.
maybe not quite as old, but it's a deep cut.
Yeah. The true GameCola faithful would know.
It's like a part of like an old GameCola article series.
We call them
sort of
columns.
from 2 perspectives.
Yes. Well.
What'd you say, Jeddy?
Oh, I was going to say we call them columns. But yes,
Yes.
If you can call a shouting voice from the ether, written all in caps, to be a perspective.
And I do consider it to be that.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is which hacks and slash ship is the OTP.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is very specific to GameCola, and it's just nonsense, and it's great.
And it also has a pretty clear consensus.
It does
That's
not.
what weirds me out.
Well, it's Smoss and Ridley has 39%.
That 39% is not quite a clear consensus.
The next highest is 22%, and then the next 17, and then another.
I'm going to look up the definition to consensus, because apparently I've been using it wrong my entire life.
I mean, there are other polls that are like.
Yeah, that's where it's like with the video games and the videog and all of that. Like that one. Was super even across the board, like the entire time. Like I think there's only a variation of like 1 or 2 votes for every single
our
option.
TV show episodes where the audience gets to vote on the ending, video games, has no as 50%. I'm not even sure I consider 50% to be a general consensus.
It depends on how many options there are, because total equals 100%. So if there's 4 options and you got 40%. That's a pretty clear consensus, in my very important opinion.
Okay. Which device do you use most for video games has 5 options, and one of them has 50%, the other has 35%. And then there's one with 9, one with 6.
You guys are missing the big picture. You're missing the big picture. Why does no one think that orange video game protagonists are the best kind of protagonists?
Because blue is obviously the best.
Yeah. That was as well.
But it was also just specifically no one voted for orange. Maybe that's changed, but I don't think it has.
Yeah, that's still the case. And I'm assuming one person voted for yellow because it has a whopping 6%.
Yeah, it was red, yellow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. And because purple's not a real color. And purple's not a real color.
Spyro is going to have to disagree. Yeah. If orange can be on there, Spyro orange and Crash purple
shouldn't be on there because green.
No.
Blue.
No.
Yeah, because
there is
red is
a
at one
wavelength
end
of light.
Yeah.
There's a single wavelength of light that hits your eye.
Yeah.
That produces green. The only way you can see purple is if 2 different sources of light hit your eye. One that's kind of red and one that's kind of blue.
Is that just because we only have 3 cones? If you were a mantis...
No, it's because...
Would you be purple?
No, it's because the light is a spectrum. So there's red on one side and blue on the other side. And you've got three kinds of thing in your eye. One that brightens up when there's sort of reddish light, one that brightens up when there's sort of greenish light, and one that brightens up when there's sort of bluish light. And single wavelengths of lights that are kind of in between will trigger both of them. And that's how your brain like distinguishes throughout the spectrum. But then also you can trick your brain by showing light from two sources that add up to a color. That's how like, you know, your RGB screen works. But there's no single wavelength of light that is both reddish and bluish because they're on opposite sides of the spectrum. So the only way that you can see purple is if your brain is being tricked.
I guess we're assuming that ultraviolet is not purple.
Welcome to Science Cola, where we feel the taste of great science.
RGB is video games. You see the video part of video games is very important, and when playing video games, I feel it's very important for people to understand.
We focus too much on the games part. I think we should only focus on the video part from now on.
Yeah.
Sure. Can we get into the like hardware of it? Like, I'm gonna just talk about ones and zeros this whole time.
110110110010010000001.
I can't believe you just said that about my mother.
I've been having to deal with that quite a lot lately. And did I mention it on the...
Jeddy's been...
Yeah, did I mention on the podcast last time that I've been doing, like, NES development?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, you
did. It's so weird. There's a lot of things where, like, I have to deal with both hexadecimal and binary when, like, doing math. And so... It's so weird to be like, man, how is it that C is 12, right? C doesn't seem like a 12 because it's the third letter. So how is C an even number, right? How is C divisible by 4? Yeah, right, when it's 3, right? How is 3 divisible by 4?
Because
love hexadecimal. Because
A is the 0th number. You have to do it in computer where it starts at 0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So A is the 0th letter of the alphabet.
That's true.
I love that.
As it should be.
Exciting. Yes, as it should be. So Anna's name has 2 zeros in it.
Well, no. It's 10.
10. Sure.
Yeah, well,
I guess it has 2 zeros from the 10 still.
Then the ends.
N is like out of the radar of hex. So,
is there a name? What names can you spell in hexadecimal? Ace?
I'll spell my name, but I've got another N in there.
Yeah.
Can't spell Joseph.
No, you're not going to get any of the... Everybody in GameCola's name is, like, not everyone, but most people's names in GameCola either start with the letter J or are comprised of the letters D, A, and N.
God, there's a lot of N's in these names.
Man, so I love that my neighbor literally mows his lawn, like, every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got a clean lawn. Is this in your new house?
No, this is my old house. That's why I'm leaving.
Because of the lawnmower.
Reason to leave.
Like, man, like I'm not even kidding that like I'm just like looking at OBS and seeing that like, oh yes, it is in fact coming across on my recording. And I closed the window. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, 10:30 is the perfect time to start mowing your lawn.
Go tell him that you're recording a podcast and he needs to shut up.
Yeah, oh man, like the thing is it's that annoying, like, oh, okay, it's fading out. No, oh, nope, it's coming back. Oh, no, it's fading out. No,
he's going down the lawn and then he's coming back up the lawn.
So anyway, what were we talking about? Colors?
Video.
Yeah, they were talking about video games.
Video games?
Just video.
Just video.
Well, yeah, we've been focusing on the video part of video games for a bit.
About whether we should keep talking about video games or switch specifically to video. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be a good poll. Or lawn mowing.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Lawn Cola podcast. Feel the taste of great lawns.
There's some lawn lawn
lawn mowing outside the
there.
mainstream.
Oh my god, there are lawn mowing video games out there. House Flipper, which just came out with their Pets DLC. I can't believe I wasn't thinking about that. They've got a lawn mowing, but that's part of their garden DLC, so that's a little different. But there you go, you can mow lawns. I hate it. It drives me crazy. I liked it initially, mowing the lawns in House Flipper, but it is tedious and it's slow, and I'm a little bit too much of a perfectionist. And they've made it better. There were glitches earlier on in the game where like there were certain spots that you just could not mow. I believe they have fixed all of those, but those used to drive me insane. And now it just takes forever. I think that's how I feel about mowing your lawn in real life too. It just takes forever. And for what?
Yeah.
For the HOA to be happy?
Yeah. Man, there's been so many bunnies because it's spring now.
Aw.
Yeah, they're just like hopping around in my lawn. I don't
Bunnies
think I'm gonna get.
hop.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get that.
Welcome to the Animal Cola game. No, I messed it up.
Yeah, Jeddy, you, I've swerved us back onto video games a couple times.
Yeah.
I think you need to stop looking at your lawn.
Yeah.
Stop looking out the window, Jeddy.
Okay.
It's bad for video games.
Yes, I'm turning around. What is a bunny game? Okay, so here's one. I played Go Morse Go, which is a Morse code game. It's kind of a rhythm game with a bunch of bunnies. It's a very cute indie game that I believe I got in the racial justice bundle on itch.io a couple of years ago, and then I downloaded all the games that I was interested in, and then I proceeded to never play them for like 2 years.
That's something.
Yeah. And so I finally, for whatever reason, decided to just sit and like blast through them, and that I like in one evening. I mean, the thing is that I'm finding, a lot of these are jam games, so they're very short on their own. So like Go Morse Go, it's like, 5 to 10 minutes worth of playing, unless you're like super invested in, typing Morse code out. And like, what was the one that I was playing? Hold on. Oh, there it is. Peck and Run, which is just like you are like a bird on the beach and you have to go peck at some shellfish and bring the food back to your babies in the nest, but like without getting caught in the tide. So like the tide goes out and you run out and you peck really fast at a bunch of like shellfish, and then you run back as the tide comes in, and you feed it to the birds, and you have to like feed them a certain amount.
What kind of bird are you?
Like a sand thrush or something? Hold on.
What type of bird do you hope it is?
Well, I'm just wondering why it can't fly. Why it has to run.
Yeah, it's
and why it's like afraid of the water.
It's just trying to save energy. It's
like a thrush.
Tired. It's a single mother.
I feel like
sandpiper. There we go.
mean, that might be the case.
Yeah, it's one of those little birds that runs along on the beach and pecks at things.
Okay. I trust the science.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, there's a lot of games where like, I downloaded it because, the description sounded interesting, and then like, it just turns out to be like a jam game that's, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, or like, it's a roguelike, and so it's infinitely playable, but I play, like one round of it, I'm like, well, I got enough experience out of that. And then the other one is,
like, and you're only playing one round, then you're not getting it.
Yeah, but
it's not a roguelike. That's just a video. That's just a platformer, or
that's just a video game where you die and then you stop playing.
You've got one chance to beat this video game, and then it uninstalls and blacklists itself from your computer.
That game was called One Shot. That game existed.
the roguelike, it deletes itself. Yes, it deletes yourself from your computer. Everyone has one chance to beat the game. Who can do it?
That was an actual thing on Twitch, I think. There was like a Twitch integrated game. I can't remember what it was called. It was neat. I didn't ever play it.
Man, that would be cool though, right? Like if it was like you have to go and watch what other people did to like gather enough.
I don't remember how it worked exactly, but it sounded a lot like that.
So
teamwork.
Sorry, to continue on the topic of roguelikes, and that like I'm not really into that method of gameplay where it's just like the purpose of the game is the playing of the game. I want some kind of story, right? I want some kind of like thing going on within the game other than the playing thereof.
Right, because that's like it's not roguelikes don't necessarily not need to have any story,
right.
But like a lot of the time you have to specifically work on either you put in the work like Hades, where like it puts in all this effort to like work on the progression and deal with that, or it's just like you just don't have a story, which is generally easier. And depending on the kind of game, you may not even have a way to really justify the story. So in that case,
a roguelike that has like basically no story, I would say is like Slay the Spire. Like at least there's no story that I can really perceive in that. You really just play the game to play the game. But then like with Hades and with Inscription, which is both a roguelike and not, without spoiling it too much, both of those, like if you do certain things or reach a certain point, your story progresses. So you do have that story aspect, but you have to, at least in Hades more so, you have to be willing to, if you're not good at video games, slam your head against the wall until you make it further. Whereas Inscription, I felt like it was a little bit easier to keep the story moving. I think I did get stuck at one point, but for the most part, I was able to keep it pushing through. And that one was pretty intriguing.
Inscription is the one that's kind of like a card game, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a deck builder.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, the guy's like, oh. Is he turning it off?
Can you guys hear my cat?
Now?
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry. No, it's fine. I'm more concerned, personally about my recording. Nobody who's listening actually cares, I think.
Hang on a second. Let me let my cat into the room because then she'll stop screaming. Maybe.
I think that cats are just smart enough to always scream.
Mine seems to be.
I think the lawnmower man is driving away.
Wait, he's driving away? He drove there to mow his lawn?
It's a riding...
Yeah, sorry, it's a riding lawnmower. And, like, I heard him, like, you can tell the difference between, it's on, but it's not driving the mower, and, like, now he's lowered the mowing apparatus.
Sure.
Like, he's doing something. Like, he's doing something complex, and I can't tell whether he's, like, getting ready to leave or... Anyway, sorry.
Round two.
You gotta get the grass even shorter. You cut it in waves.
Yeah. It's the
level up.
Like it just keeps growing faster.
So
sorry. So I did have a point of this, which was that there are two games, and one game that I thought I was playing, and another game that I was actually playing.
Okay.
That describes the two games that exist.
Now let's just take a moment and think about that thing Jeddy just said.
There are two games.
There's a lot to unpack here. There's only two games.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know what we've been doing for the past decade, but okay. Apparently.
I don't know, this lines up with like how Jeddy plays games pretty well to me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No.
Jeddy's finally made it to his second video game ever.
Yeah.
It's funny because Jeddy like broke that stereotype like a couple years ago, but now I think maybe just by virtue of that poll I have accidentally brought it back.
Yeah.
Reverse butterfly effect.
Yeah, my best game of 2021 is a game that came out in 2020.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid.
I'm trying to think of like how best to say it, but basically, I don't know if anyone's heard of Wide Ocean Big Jacket.
No.
Okay.
I've heard of all of those words individually.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here, I'll send you a screenshot. It's an indie game. Where's podcast?
Sounds like
because the best GameCola podcast content
is describing Okay, it's a picture of people and a car.
It is. So now,
actually, I do think I have seen stuff from this before, or maybe this is just like the current.
It's an art style, yeah.
So okay, so you're describing there are people and a car and an art style. Now, I played.
This is one of the 2 video games.
I played this game.
Overland. I've heard of that one.
For which, please describe the scene.
There's a dog in this one. It's cuter.
Yeah.
Would play the dog.
There's more like shading. There's shadows in it.
It is slightly
the one
darker.
Above is
so
yeah. This is like orange and red, and the other one is like
green and yellow.
But would you not say that both of these contain people and a car with an art style?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this game, I will tell you, this game is not Wide Ocean Big Jacket.
Oh, really?
Okay, so what I understand is that there are 2 games. There's game without dog, and there's game with dog.
Can you pet the dog?
You can.
He doesn't know he's playing Wide Ocean Big Jacket, not Overland.
No, I thought I was playing Wide Ocean Big Jacket. I'm like, man, this is a lot more serious than I thought it was going to be. I also didn't realize that this was going to be a roguelike. I thought it was like...
Okay, so can you pet the dog?
You can pet the dog, but it costs you an action. And so if you use your action to pet the dog, you're probably going to get killed by aliens.
Do you get,
I think that's worth it.
For petting the dog? Or did the developers just hate petting dogs? Okay.
I think it's worth it to get killed by aliens if it means I get to pet a dog.
I agree.
Petting the dog is the win state for this video game.
Yes.
That's why the other game sucks, because there is no winning. There is no dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it does look like there's grass to mow, though, in both of these games.
There's grass to catch on fire.
The type of mowing.
I would also say, looking at these 2 pictures, if you told me that the picture from the first picture you sent was from the game, the second picture you sent, I would be like, I can see it.
Yeah. So,
like, it's not the same characters, but, like, you know, if someone else has a car.
And it does have people in a car.
If you said that the first was like concept art, and then the second was like the finished product, I'd be like, yep, you're not lying to me.
So as I was saying about, like, roguelikes and games that don't really have a story, and, like, I usually skip after the first level, I opened this up at, like, 8 p.m., and I then went to sleep at, like, 1:30. On, like...
This is Overland.
Yeah, that, like, it is a roguelike, and... Yeah, like, basically, it's very small levels, like, very small, and it's kind of like a tactical thing where, you move, and then, like, enemies move, and then you get to move again, and, like, you're trying to dodge these aliens, while also trying to, like, get a can of gas, and then get the gas back to your car, and then fill the car up, then, like, get everybody back in, and then drive off. And then the next level is, oh no, I ran over an alien, and now my car is damaged, and I have to go get the toolbox, and I have to bring it back and fix the car. Like, it's you trying to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast out of this, alien nightmare. I think they're aliens. I don't think it explicitly says what the creatures are, but it's...
I was gonna say, it's like, when I first saw it, it's like, is this an Oregon Trail game? And then you were like, oh, you're going from the East Coast to the West Coast. Like, this is an Oregon Trail game.
Yeah.
Is Oregon Trail a roguelike?
No.
Oh, man.
A roguelike requires for you to, like... Well, I would say, first of all, if you cannot beat a roguelite on your first playthrough, no matter how much you've mastered the game.
That's not true. You can beat Hades in one try.
Well, I think the
well,
thing
you
is,
can't beat the whole story,
if you've
but
never...
you can win a run. So if you mean, like, there's... I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, if you've never played the game before, I don't think it's possible to beat Hades in one go.
Yeah.
I mean, I got, like, halfway there on my first try.
Yeah, to be fair, my partner did as well. He got pretty freaking close on his first try. But Hades is made by Supergiant Games. I love them so much. Roguelites are not like
They are so good.
they do like a different type of game every time they make a game, and they, I would say, do a almost again, I love them, so I don't want this to come across as mean, but they almost do like a surface level like interpretation of that type of game, which I think is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I love all their games, but I do feel like a good roguelike you shouldn't really be able to beat on your first go, because you're supposed to die and level up and gain different abilities that you can use again going forward.
Yeah.
So, like, what is... Can you... I'm just trying to see if, like, there is... Slay the Spire is a roguelike, yeah?
Well, like, Spelunky.
Can you beat it Can you beat it on your first run?
If you were very familiar with Slay the Spire, it might be possible to beat it on your first run, but based on my memories of it, I would say to wait.
I looked it up and there's like a YouTube video saying beating Slay the Spire first try.
Okay, so it is possible. It's very difficult.
Well, there's also roguelike games where like you really do just start from zero every single time you restart, and it's just game knowledge that gets you through further, like Spelunky.
If only one of us had played Returnal, so we could...
Spelunky, like, you do unlock the ability to, like, start at later levels, but that's more for practice, because, like, playing the earlier levels, since there are no permanent buffs, playing the earlier levels are kind of required to get the easier gear so that you're decked out for the later levels, basically.
Okay, well then I take it back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Your first GameCola podcast, and you had to be wrong about video games. Not a good look.
Beat you with facts and logic.
Unlike me, who's never been wrong about video games.
Oh, guys, Martin Joseph is here.
So, yeah, I played through Overland. I beat it. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. I liked, again, it's not that there isn't a story, but there's kind of like, it's that sort of, I don't want to call it like Dark Souls-esque, but that, you learn through the playing, like kind of what's going on. You get kind of a vague feeling of what's happening in Overland, and I appreciate that sort of world building.
Yeah. I would say that's kind of similar to how like Breath of the Wild sort of did it. Like a lot of its storytelling.
Vague feelings.
Through just the environment.
Yeah. And then the next day I went back and I played Wide Ocean Big Jacket, and it was a significantly different game.
And that's the first game that you sent a picture of, right?
Yeah. It's just like I guess it's like an adventure game or like a visual novel. Like it's basically just, it's not a walking simulator, but there is a lot of walking and just like talking to people and getting the story. It was cute. It was quaint. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both of the games. But they are definitely not the same.
I do think it's like when it comes to like this is like, you know, very like this simplified cell shaded art style.
Yeah.
With like the dot eyes and the like, you know, these kind of color choices. I don't know, it feels like this is almost like now the current indie vibe. We've moved, not completely, but we have moved past the heyday, or moving out of the heyday of it. Look at the squares.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you could see squares in video games? Our video game has squares.
Yeah.
Just like the old ones.
Square.
Yeah, it has kind of that, was it Donut County? Like,
yeah, Donut County was the first game that came to mind.
Yeah, there's
this art style.
Yeah, it's become an art style.
Gonna be a real hot take here, but I like this art style.
Yeah, no, I mean,
no, I don't dislike it.
Yeah,
but like I like the pixel art style too, and I also was very, you know, aware of how prolific it was getting to the point where it was kind of like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I would say that, like, Sable also has a similar art style.
Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah.
Sable is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if anyone else here has played it, but it's fantastic. And it does that thing where it does a really good job of telling the story through the environment. You do talk to characters, but most of the, like, learning that you do about the world is just through the environment. And it's
bold of you to assume I'm capable of learning.
Okay, well, everyone but Blue game. I highly recommend it. Jeddy, you might like it.
It was released 30 years ago.
I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys can hear this.
I cannot.
No, I can't hear anything
okay.
except the sound of your wonderful voice.
Are we supposed to hear it?
No, maybe if I was talking while I was doing it, that you might be able to hear what it is that I'm doing currently at this moment. No, it's not my Tamagotchi. Okay. Oh no, it's not available on the Switch. I was gonna go buy it, but I apparently will have to buy it on PC. That's fine. For whatever reason, Switch is kind of my preferred game source.
It goes to your TV and your hands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Sorry. So, not to disrupt, but I recently made a discovery that I hate having to like switch my headphones to different sources.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then I realized that I have a little I don't know if this is the purpose of it. It's an audio combiner, and that I can like plug it into my laptop and then also into my Switch, and I can hear both at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, futures now.
Yeah, really. This thing that I got at a yard sale in like a pack of stuff that some guy had. He just had like a little Ziploc bag of like audio bits. So it's like the different size adjusters. So it goes from like 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch or whatever plug, and like there was this splitter in there, and like I guess I thought that it was for like taking left and right audio, right?
Yeah.
Like stereo, and like putting it into one thing. But apparently it works just fine to just like plug my work laptop and my personal laptop into the same thing, and then not have to worry about like swapping if I want to like listen to music on my personal laptop while also doing work stuff,
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I am interested in Sable, so thank you for suggesting it.
Sick.
They don't have yard sales in London.
No?
They don't have yards.
Well, yeah, do they have garage sales?
So what they do, to my understanding, I did look this up.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you go out into the suburbs, it's different. But like, instead of one person having like a yard sale, just a bunch of people drive their cars to like a parking lot and then sell stuff out of the back of their car.
Yeah.
All day. And you've got, the same but different kind of people that go there. Like, you've got the people who like show up at like 5 a.m. and like they press their face on your car door window and are like, I'll give you $100 for everything that's in this car.
Yeah. Swap meet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like trunk or treating.
But with stuff.
Yeah, like that.
It's like a trunk or treat, but with stuff.
Yeah. And
never heard the term trunk or treat before, but thanks.
How did you use that? It blew up during the pandemic, because people...
I assume that's on Twitter. I do not use that.
Interesting. Somehow everyone gathering in a parking lot is safer than like a single person showing up to your door to get candy.
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Good pandemic logic. Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the latest Twitter meme I can think of that I learned was, like, the Princess Bride one, where it's like, you did do the thing, right? And then... But I don't know, what's the hottest Twitter meme right now?
That is not the Princess Bride.
Oh, sorry, which...
That's Star Wars.
Is it?
I don't even know this meme. I can't.
Well,
what are you talking about?
Okay.
I know it's
Yeah.
Why did I get those confused? See, I bad at
Natalie
memes.
Portman is not in The Princess Bride, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
I don't
definitely not Princess Bride. No, I was gonna say is, Joseph, I think, well, no, Blue, because we were talking about it, weren't we?
We were literally talking about this yesterday.
Yeah, the
Oh,
latest...
is that
How could
the
you
latest
forget
Twitter
Morbin
meme?
time?
Okay.
How could you forget Morbin time?
Yeah, oh man, good morbing to you.
Sorry, it didn't
Oh my.
cross my mind that was a
man.
Twitter meme.
It's so weird that, like, it seems to me to have peaked literally last night. Like, I don't know if this is anyone else's experience, but it was one of those where,
by
like...
the time this podcast goes out,
Yeah.
it's going to be like, what is a morb?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even remember
I hope
it.
that's
Like-
the case.
last night, and...
Man.
It's from the movie Morbius. You shouldn't see it because he doesn't say it's Morbin time.
Apparently not. But
Do you ever...
we do not need to be encouraging Jared Leto and his cult. Like, this is not necessary or good for the world.
Do you ever, like, miss licensed games? Because Morbius could have a licensed
Oh,
game.
man.
And that is a universe that I might want to live in.
Yeah.
And they might put It's
would've-
Morbin time in a Morpheus
That-
video game.
Jeez. Oh my goodness.
Well, the thing is that if it was an actual Morbius game, like, if it was a licensed game in the sense of, like, the SNES era...
Yeah,
Then-
they'd have to rush it out, like, before the movie is done,
Exactly,
so
that, like,
yeah.
it would have come out, like, 2 days before the movie came out, and so it would have missed out on its Morbin time.
That's
We are
so sad.
In the time of DLC and such things.
oh,
You have
DLC licensed games.
Yes.
That is a
Expansion.
universe that I want to think about sometimes. I don't know if I would hate that or if I would love it. But Morbin Time Morbius DLC licensed game. Let's talk about it. Discuss.
Oh my goodness. I see from what little I know about Morbius, I do feel like it's a premise that could make a good video game. And the little that I know, that and know is in loose quotation marks here, is that he's a vampire and he can...
The first living vampire.
No, he's not the first living
Oh, sorry,
vampire.
no,
That's
he's a
Dracula,
living vampire.
apparently.
Dracula is apparently the first living vampire,
Yeah.
as opposed to all of the unliving
So
vampires
my theory
that there were
behind
before.
that is that it means he's the first, like, human to be turned. I don't know if that's accurate at all, but, like, that's how I would interpret that phrase. Like, that there were vampires that were born vampires, and then Dracula is the first one to have been a human first.
But then how are they not alive?
It
The
was-
whole, like,
Undead.
They're
that's what I was
I
going
but
to
don't
say.
how can you be something that you never were in the first
Shoot.
place?
Like,
I don't know. I do not. It hurts to think about the rip-off Morbius movie, because that's not a phrase that should exist.
Okay, well, we need to stop morbing right now. Jeddy, it sounded like you were about to change the subject.
oh no, I was just
I
going to
mean-
go on about what, undead means and stuff. But
I have, this is, so I have like a list of random questions that I think might be good to bring up on the podcast in a little notes. So the first one is there a licensed game you wish existed, whether it is because you believe it would be genuinely great or because it would be hilariously abhorrent? And this the segue. Yeah, I did it. I am the podcast host now.
wow.
How dare you? How dare you say that to me?
Joe, you just need to leave. We don't need you here anymore.
Oh, no, I'll keep him. He's worthwhile to me and my ends. So, is that a question we can...
The problem is, Blue, the first place my mind went when you asked that question was like, oh, what's a media property that I like? Mega Man. Wait.
Yeah, I guess my hot take would be that most things don't translate to video games well, like if they weren't a video game to begin with. Like, it's...
Well, I mean,
Video games.
the question is genuinely great or hilariously abhorrent.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, I would say,
Yeah.
like, Marvel, but they're already doing that, basically.
I mean... okay, so I'm going to give my two answers. I have one for each. I have always wanted an X-Men turn-based RPG. I think that would be really great, and I like turn-based RPGs, and all the Marvel ones right now are like mobile, like Marvel Strike Force, and it's like pay money to kind of get something maybe from this loot box, and I'm like, can I just have a single, or just like a normal RPG game with X-Men? That would be great, thank you. The awful version is, there was a show. It was called Mutant X. It did not have any actual X-Men characters in it. It was just an awful X-Men TV show from like the 2000s that was cancelled after a couple seasons on a cliffhanger, and none of them had really good powers or anything. And I think that is ripe for a terrible PS2 game. So those are my answers.
I'm trying to, like, see, the thing is that I'm not confident, I'm thinking of my answers, and I'm not confident that they don't already exist, and I've just never looked into it. Like, this may exist, but I would love for there to be, specifically, not just a Twilight licensed game, but specifically, like, some kind of, Game Boy Advance, like, mostly walking around, like a Twilight Game Boy Advance platformer where it's like it's like clearly they've taken like 3D like really simple 3D models and then just rendered it on the Game Boy, so they're all like weirdly pixely and the eyes like fade in and out depending on like the orientation. Right? It's not like a sprite.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then so like it's like they're the levels, and then in between every single one of the levels, there's like just like two of these models standing looking at each other while like 50 pages of text go by as they're talking to each other. And then it cuts and like Bella is like jumping around the baseball field collecting like little flasks of blood.
Joe,
so I have either good news or bad news depending on your... There is no Game Boy Advance Twilight game. I'm pretty sure there was one for the Wii.
It might be a DS Wii time period might be better.
Well, I was gonna say
probably. Because it was like when I was in high school. Because I don't know if I want to put you on blast, Dan, but you did. The reason I remember when Twilight was the thing was because you talked to me about reading Twilight.
I was a little bit of a twihard. I will say it contributed a lot to my unhealthy expectations of relationships.
Oh no.
I'm over it now, don't worry.
Okay, so there is... Oh my goodness. Okay, so, are you ready?
I'm ready.
The Twilight Nintendo DS game is Twilight Seen It. So it's the board game on the DS.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, because I was going to say that, Joe, I'm pretty sure...
Oh my goodness, they do like these weird, like, very pixely scenes from the movie. It's awful.
I hope they have different voice actors, too. That's always really funny to me.
It was made by Konami, apparently, so that's... Oh boy.
Okay, my answer to this question would be, I would like to see a Breaking Bad licensed game where you're just making meth and like running from the police or something. I think that'd be funny. And I would like to see the TV show Euphoria turned into basically what you guys were just talking about with 2D platformer, and they're platforming their way through the school and collecting drugs.
Excellent.
I see there's like a theme of drugs in both of my answers. That
Jeddy, when...
Oh, I don't watch any TV shows, so I was actually going to just talk about how Joseph was just describing Santa Claus Saves the Earth.
Oh my goodness, no.
I was not just I was describing a lot of licensed games. Like, there's a Madagascar game like that.
Yeah.
I think I've seen some clips of, like, the Victorious, or maybe multiple Victorious games. that were like that.
I guess just
there was like what was another one?
Like
there was another like DreamWorks.
Every part
I think
that
DreamWorks had a bunch made by the same company.
Oh,
where they would just churn out like basically a swap of like an assets flip.
Oh man,
of,
actually,
like,
yeah,
one
there was
kind
also
of game with every
the Santa
movie
Claus
that came out.
3, the escape clause for GBA. Sorry, I'm just thinking of all of the I think part of it is that the majority of my Game Boy Advance gaming has been the GameCola Christmas in July Ho-Ho Holiday Livecast Extravaganza. And so most of my experience with like a terrible platformer with pre-rendered 3D where you are inexplicably hopping around collecting vials of something while it's interspersed with like still frames from a pre-rendered video is from Santa Claus Saves the Earth and Santa Claus 3.
Excellent.
It's funny too because like you could have like FMV cutscenes. Sometimes I remember there's a Lion King 1.5 video game where like they don't have audio, but they'll play like FMV video clips from the movie without audio in between some of the levels. But then there was also, I remember, this must exist because I have such a vivid memory of it. But like for a while they tried putting like TV show episodes on like Game Boy Advance cartridges.
Yeah.
Because I very distinctly remember watching the first episode of Sonic X on my Game Boy Advance at one point.
How was it?
I mean, the first episode of Sonic X is actually pretty good because Chris is not in it until like the very, very end. And he says like 2 things. So it's mostly just Sonic running really fast from the police.
Does he escape from the city?
He escapes from...
The police?
He escapes in the city. He escapes from the police in a city. Which is really what happens also in the video game where that song is from. Like, I don't think he leaves the city in that one either. At least not at the end of the level. He just outruns a big truck.
Speaking of cities, which is a place that people live, and there are such video games as that have people in them, like The Sims 4. There we go. I got there.
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
Excellent.
And also,
yes. Okay, we're gonna talk about SimCity.
No.
Yeah, SimCity.
No, we're gonna go within the city, and we're gonna talk about the individuals. So we're going for straight on Sims 4. Sims 4.
Sims for who?
Sims for me. For everyone, actually, now. Sims for all. Because Sims, thank you, Joseph, came out with the pronoun update. The long-awaited but somewhat unexpected pronoun update that allows you to customize the pronouns for your Sims. This update is only available in English, though they are looking to create it in other languages, but other languages are different from English, and so it's a little bit complicated. And I think that they made the right choice by only releasing it in one language and then looking into the details of the other languages before releasing it in those. But they did a really, really good job with the update because pretty much everyone was just expecting we were going to get a he, she, they, them. But we didn't. We got he, she, they, them, and also the ability to customize your pronouns to be whatever you want them to be. The menus for it make sense. The application of it makes sense. And now your Sims can be whatever they want to be. They're also overhauling the townies. And they did that by starting with only the Goth family, which isn't bad, but it doesn't bode well for the speed at which these updates are going to come out. Since they said they're going to do every single townie and townie family, but they have done one. And I'm hoping that they were just doing it as kind of like a teaser, like this is what we're going to do, and then they're going to start releasing it all at once, but who knows? It's the Sims team.
Yeah, it's such a wild, like, it's like, I think, like, you hear things where it's like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The Sims, at least maybe the DLC team, or maybe that's just the Sims team at this point. I don't know exactly how it works, if it's changed at all in the past however many years Sims 4 has been out. It just seems like you roll 2 dice, and that's the amount of steps forward and back that are taken.
Yeah.
At any given moment.
It does kind of feel that way. And part of the problem is, I mean, it seems to me, and I think probably most other people as well, that the main issue is just that they're rushing this content, because they keep saying, like, we're going to do this content and that content, and everyone's like, oh, that actually sounds like it could be really good. And then it gets released, and it's obvious that it's not complete. Like, the wedding pack update that came out relatively recently is a good example of that. Just completely broken, unplayable. And it completely replaces the previous wedding system. So if you have downloaded or bought this pack, you can't get married anymore, basically, unless you elope, because the wedding system is broken. You've just paid money to break your game, really. And they released that.
We have created marriage equality. No one can get married.
Right, exactly. Like, they just wanted to get it out, I think, around Valentine's Day or something. So it wasn't that anymore.
My pronouns are unmarried.
This, like, who is out there being like, if only The Sims had taken 2 years and 6 months to come out with this update instead of 2 years and 7 months.
Yeah.
Then maybe I would have bought it, but now because it's like the game's been out for so long.
Right.
Why are you rushing anything at this point? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Wait for holidays. They wanted to get.
But who cares?
But that's one thing that is actually pretty surprising, that they didn't wait until June, Pride Month, to release the pronoun update. That they went ahead and gave it to us in May. That's pretty exciting, because I kind of would have expected for them to maybe complete it, but then just hold on to it until we reach Pride Month so that they could make a big deal out of it. But they didn't do that. They just gave it to us, which makes me think they were just done with it and they were just ready to give it to the world. And that's exciting.
They may still advertise it a bunch in June, though.
But that's fine. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's better to release something and then be like, hey, we have this, by the way, in case you missed it. Rather than being like, we did this, and we're gonna profit off of it now because you're thinking about it. I'm making you think about it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm just very cynical for the sake of a podcast.
I know I'm right. You didn't have to say it, but I appreciate it.
What is this, Bluefin Joseph? Like, what's going on here?
We're down a person. I have to have enough energy for an extra person.
Yeah, it's true. Blue's got to bring it.
I have to get myself on the next level, and that means pushing you all down.
Werewolves are coming to The Sims 4. They have not officially announced it, but they're teasing the hell out of it.
You could tell me, like, anything about the Sims 4 in terms of its content, and I would simultaneously believe, I can't believe that isn't already in this game.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they would put that in this game.
Yeah, you know, I
have no idea what's in this video game.
I don't feel like werewolves have been executed well in any Sims game, so it'll be very interesting to see how they do it. That's probably not what most people think. I'm sure there are people that like how werewolves worked. And I do think that they were both in Sims 2 and Sims 3. Yeah, they were. So I guess it makes sense that we're getting them. Sims 4 started out with very few occults, and it's been a very slow, like, we didn't even have ghosts when Sims 4 launched, and it's been a very slow introduction of occults to this game. So I kind of just keep expecting them to not introduce anymore. But they are, and it might be good, because, like, the vampire system is pretty good. The vampires themselves are a little annoying because they're way too thirsty. Just way too thirsty. It's unmaintainable. Witches are okay.
Do you think...
They're not witchers. Spellcasters. Sorry, I don't play with them much.
Do you think they're saving the werewolves for the Pride Month update?
Oh my god, I hope so. Oh my god. Hilarious. I do hope that I do the case. And then the only other occult that I would really want in Sims 4 would be fairies, which were in Sims 3, but not, I believe, in any previous Sims games. So there's not as deep of a precedent. And Sims 4 also has mermaids, and they bad.
When does Sims 5 happen?
Well, it wasn't going to happen. Like, that was the tale for, like, ever, that there wasn't going to be a Sims 5, that Sims 4 was going to be the end. And now they're saying
Sims 4 Ultimate.
5. But I am concerned, because it seems that Sims 5 is going to have a lot of, based on what little has leaked so far, it's seeming like Sims 5 is going to have a pretty large online component, which
is what The Sims needed.
Right. which is what destroyed SimCity.
Well, SimCity, it was specifically DRM, right? Like, if you didn't have an internet connection, you couldn't play the single-player game.
Yes.
That's what I remember of SimCity.
And I would expect the same of that.
And then, like, everybody just immediately started playing a different game. I forget what it's called. It's the one where you can, like, click and, like, have a meteor land.
Believe is
City Skylines, yeah. Like, everybody started playing that after SimCity, like, came out and had the whole DRM issue.
Yeah. And City Skylines now completely wins. Like that is the one that people play. I'm hoping that we're going to see a kind of similar move.
A similar move?
Exactly, thank you so much. There are a few different developers who are working on creating Sims-esque games. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is Paralives, but I know that there's another one that's been making a lot of progress, but I can't remember what it's called. But I've been following the development of Paralives for a while. I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm a Patreon member for it, so I get all the exclusive updates, so no spoilers or anything. But I like it. They're doing good things. They're really taking community feedback into account, which is the thing that most people would complain about Sims 4, that they just didn't listen to the community and didn't listen to the community and didn't listen to the community for such a long time. And then they started releasing these polls that made it seem like they were going to start listening to the community. And then they kept releasing content and people were like, why did we fill out those polls? But now
glances nervously at the GameCola YouTube community posts.
I think we give the people what they want. They want video content. About video. Specifically.
I want video content.
I think that we should do an entire podcast where we just talk about converting binary to hexadecimal.
Yeah.
And it's just like a math off. The whole time.
Bit shifting. Yeah.
People would like that. I know they would.
Yeah. I think people would enjoy hearing
gaming outside the binary.
Yes. That's what you can do in Sims now. Hey!
I was gonna say it would be quite the bait and switch to be like gaming outside the binary. You click on it, it's like we're talking about hexadecimal.
That's what I was thinking. It's
like that's not why I thought that someone was gonna name a video that in June.
Oh yeah,
Jeddy, did you have something?
I was gonna say something about trying to explain how to like shift bits. It's like trying to explain the title screen to White Ocean Big Jacket. It's going to be great to be like, yeah, well, 0100010. Well, that's C or whatever. Like it's going to be great entertaining content to try to explain in an audio medium.
Yes.
The differences of binary and hexadecimal.
Yeah, you don't need visual aids for that at all.
Yeah.
That's why in class everyone just closes their eyes. Listens to the teacher.
Yeah, that's why lectures work so great.
Yeah. I would like to hear Blue Rider talk about Hard Space Shipbreaker because I wanted to play that game and didn't get the chance, and I found out that he did.
What?
You played Hard Space Shipbreaker, right?
No, I don't even know what that is.
What? Where did this come from?
I feel lied to.
I think somebody was talking about it.
This is Blue.
You and Blue were talking about something, and I said wait and save it for the podcast.
Oh, that was Multiversus.
No, but after that, also.
Oh, I just got confused if someone... I think I didn't hear them say Hard Space Shipbreaker and thought we were still talking about Multiversus then.
I see.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Such
I ruined the podcast.
Weird, like, I want to hear what Blue has to say about this. Was like, what? What are you talking about?
I ruined the podcast. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is why I'm the podcast commander, Blue.
Yeah, I must step down after all my years of effort. I must relinquish the title to Joseph.
Yeah.
It was a good run. I had a good run.
Hey, Blue.
Yes?
As penance for your crimes, tell me what games you've been playing in recent times.
Okay,
See, that's what it takes to be a podcast commander. To, like, start a sentence, not even know you're gonna rhyme it, and then, like, find the rhyme.
Yeah.
That's only a decade of podcasting experience is the only way to get a skill like that.
Yeah.
That is cultivated through
I said that while
hardships.
standing on a mat with a hat.
Wow.
I'm so good at this.
Do we still have a cat?
Like my cat?
Yes. Yeah, we have a cat. That was good. It helped.
Yeah. Good rhyme. Nice.
I believe you can't hear them. They're not meowing, but they're going absolutely insane behind me.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, Blue, video game.
I finished Transistor if we never got to that on the podcast.
Transistor is so good!
Yes, it is a very good game.
Another very good game.
Beautiful.
It is very pretty, and it sounds nice, and it plays nice.
How much time did you spend in the little beach area?
I mean, I did everything I could there, and I played with a dog.
What?
So.
Wait, so what is the game?
Transistor is the second Supergiant game. It's like Bastion, but a step up,
Yeah,
I guess.
It's the next iteration of Hades. Like, before
it's
Hades
the more
came
like
out, it's like from...
cyberpunk version of Bastion.
It's not a roguelike.
Yeah,
it does have a...
It's, what would you call it?
It's roguelike.
It plays like Hades, but you don't die. Or you try not to die.
It plays like Hades. It's like, I mean, it's almost like turn-based. It's not turn-based, but...
It's...
Yeah,
there is a function where you, like, can freeze time and do actions if your bar is full, but I didn't use that as often, so, it did play like, oh, okay, well, there's the, like, 2 attack buttons, and you're like, well, there's 3 attack buttons, and I had it set up like Hades, where you have, like, a basic attack, a heavier attack, and a projectile attack. And then you're, like, dodge. So my, like, control scheme was basically Hades.
Well, what you're, like, supposed to do, from my interpretation of the game, is take advantage of this kind of freezing time aspect. And you freeze time and you queue up a bunch of attacks. And the UI is kind of similar to, like, if you've ever... explored any of those, like, coding basic sort of softwares where you're just taking, like, puzzle pieces and clipping them together to create if-then statements. The playment is sort of similar to that. And so it's very, like, it just kind of reminds you of coding. And part of that is it's very intentional. The language that's used in the game when it comes to attacks, it's written out as if the attacks are, like, classes, basically, right?
Yeah. Like, the writing and the lore and stuff of Transistor is just very, very good.
So if everything is if-else statements, does that mean that this is gaming inside the binary?
Yes.
Kinda,
well, hence, the game is Transistor.
It's a really
good game. Transistor re-release June 2022.
Yeah.
Oh, it was re-released?
No, I'm saying they're...
Oh.
Pride Month, it will be Transistor.
I think some of those characters could be coded trans.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because... Coded, get it?
Ha!
It's a... Story in that game is, like...
It's pretty.
It's pretty. It's so good. It like, oh, got my heart, you know?
If you've never played a Supergiant game, go get one and play it. They're all
I
good.
feel like Bastion's like the best game to start with Supergiant games because it, like, I feel like Transistor has a little bit more of a learning curve.
Yeah.
And so might cause people to bounce off a little bit faster.
It's weird because Bastion's like my least favorite out of all of them.
But I just love how the world builds itself in front of you as you go.
That is cool, but I still like all the other games better.
Did you play Pyre?
Of course I did.
I see. I never made it to Pyre because
great.
that like sports gameplay is just really not for me, and I could never get.
Oh, I thought it was a lot of fun, and the character like the visual novel stuff was what I live for.
I pushed as far as I could, but like it got to the point where it really required me to understand how to play. And it's like that one's like it's like if you're playing like an NBA basketball sort of game, like where you have a whole team and you're switching characters on your team. It's not like a whole team.
And they all have different superpowers.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I liked it.
Yeah, if you like that type of gameplay, or if you can tolerate that type of gameplay, I fully recommend it.
If football needed RPG elements, in your opinion, then there you go.
I agree with that. And, like, they have balls that, like, go the wrong direction and stuff. Throw them. Which is great and also infuriating.
If you wanted to be a tree man who summons, like, blockades on the field for reasons, then you've got extra special football. It's a time.
It's a time. That's the only Supergiant game that I haven't played. I mean, I haven't finished Hades technically, but I played it and I watched my friend finish it, and that demotivated me from finishing it.
Oh.
Not because I didn't like the ending, but because I'd seen it. So it's like, okay.
I mean, I got to the part where they reveal that you... I don't know if I should...
Spoilery. Like, anytime you say you get to the part where they reveal something, I feel like the next line is going to be...
The game is longer than you think it is.
That's true. You get to the end, and then you can keep going.
Yes.
And still get more content. I have seen all of it.
I got to the part that I thought was going to be the ending. So I haven't finished the game, so I could go back to it.
Yeah. If you were really enjoying playing that game and just want another excuse to keep playing, I would. If you felt like you got like a good amount out of that game and you feeling pretty done with it, I don't think it's necessarily worth going back for the continuation of the ending.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeddy.
Hello.
What video games have you been playing in recent times?
White Ocean Big Jacket / Overland.
Mm-hmm. Did you play
Which
any
one's
other
better?
video games in recent times?
Peck and Run.
Mm-hmm.
What were the other things that
I mean, I haven't said it directly, but maybe you're picking up on the subtextual flow of my tone and leading questions. Have you perhaps played a video game that you haven't already talked about?
Has Joe talked about this game yet?
Wait, hold on. I need to go look up what the name of it was. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay, Joe, what video games have you been playing in times that are recently?
Okay, well, yeah, so I've been playing, okay, and Dana, what video games have you been playing in recent times?
I just talked to... What? Excuse you. What video games have you been playing, Joe? None?
Well, okay, fine. I've been playing, so Blue, what video games have you been playing in recent times?
Okay, so I think that we do need to
I've played
of person because he plays video games.
No, this is the rule. This is the rule of the podcast commander. Jeddy didn't play video games when he was the podcast commander.
Yeah. I just asked other people to play.
And that he's not anymore. Do you see how this works?
The other game that I played was Worldwide Tennis on Board Game Arena against Paul Franzen.
Did you win?
I did win, and I don't know how, because it is a turn-based card game where you play tennis, and that you just like lay down like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, do a volley. I'm gonna lob it. I'm gonna.
How many players is that? Can we do it for game night?
I think it's only 2 players, along with ice cold ice hockey and what was the other one? There was like a soccer one. And they're all very bad. I do not think I have enjoyed any of these sports-based.
So wait, what was the? So it was ice cold ice hockey.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one that you played? The tennis one?
Worldwide tennis.
Oh, yeah, worldwide tennis. Hold on, let me go and look up. I
thought it was also going to be like weirdly redundant. Like it's like, so you've got like, ice cold ice
tennis
hockey.
Guys play tennis.
Net swing tennis.
Net positive tennis.
Yeah.
Net playing.
And
game.
Then the other one is like football.
Yeah, big time soccer was the other one. And
right,
I'm trying to remember. I think
big time big soccer.
I think ice cold ice hockey was the best one of them. The one that like vaguely made some sense.
The worse the title, the better the game. I see where they spend their budget.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a lot of like really confusing. Like, oh no, you got a penalty. Now you have to lay down this card and discard another card, and then pick up another card and play the card, and then like check your position on the field, and like based on that determine what card to play. And like there are times where the computer just automatically does everything for you for like a full 2 minutes, and it's just like swapping stuff and being like, oh, well, now it's back to the other player, but they automatically had to play the top card on their pile, and then that didn't do anything, and then it goes back to you, but you played the card on your pile, and then it goes back, and it's like, I'm glad I didn't have to actually play this.
Yeah, that is a funny thing that video games can do, is like you get card games, but then they can become ridiculously like complicated because you don't have to keep track of how everything works for it to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you play a Yu-Gi-Oh card on like a regular like mat and you don't know how it works, and it's like, well,
yeah, and you also don't get like when you play like, is it still called Magic the Gathering if it's online? Or does it have a name?
Yeah. I believe it's called... Well, no, sorry. It's called Magic the Gathering Online when you play it online.
Okay, sure. When you play Magic the Gathering Online, you get, like, little... It highlights, like, you can still play this card, or, like, you should play this card. When you play it in, like, real life with physical cards, you just have to figure out what you can play. Like, you have to, like, do math. It's kind of... And not in binary or hexadecimal, so it's not fun math.
Oh no.
There's no bit shifting?
Nope. You just you get to 9 and then you start over at 0.
Wow.
No C.
Yeah, no A.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've ended the GameCola podcast.
Yeah.
We've come full circle. We've looped around. We've, overflow integer looped our way back to the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for
0.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the GameCola podcast. If you like what you heard, please check us out on our actual internet website, GameCola.net, where you can read articles, you can get the podcast, you can do all sorts of fun stuff, including stuff like on our YouTube channel, GCdotnet, the letter G, the letter C, the word dot, the word net, where you can see all of the different community posts that we talk so much about. But we also have gameplay videos, we have live streams, all that fun stuff. Podcast episodes also go up there. You can join the discussion. What's the tagline for the Discord? Do we have one?
I don't
Come to the Discord. It's fun. That's the tagline.
Video games.
Yeah.
Drink the cola.
Yeah.
And we morb all over the place.
No. Listen to the podcast. Game colons are in the Discord.
Oh.
No.
Is that the difference?
Vetoed. No morbing. No game colon.
He'll put Blue in charge. I think we need to put Joe back in charge. Joe will...
He hasn't played a game. He's not allowed.
Joe, can you morb us out?
The only option
Quick,
is
we have to Morbin out of here.
No.
Follow us on Facebook or Twitter. And so you can email podcast@GameCola.net. Find us on iTunes, Spotify. You can find like episodes 51 through 58 on the Google Play for the podcast. I don't know why. I think Jeddy figured it out, but I don't know if we figured out how to fix it.
Yeah, I don't know if I just like, if I remove that weird link, does it just like destroy the Google podcast? I don't understand how Google got a hold of that link. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it goes from like 151 to, and it's updating now, but
well, it's just the 10 most recent posts, period. And then because 2 of the posts don't have MP3s, you end up with 8.
Huh.
Yeah. But I don't know why that link exists or where it came from or how Google got a hold of it, so.
So I would not necessarily recommend Google Podcasts. Just watch it on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening wherever you are listening. Come hang out with us on the Discord. You can find links on the GameCola website, in the descriptions of YouTube videos, on their Twitter bio, or just find some way to contact us and we'll tell you how to get there. But yeah, I think that's everything. Does anyone have anything else they want to add?
That's a podcast.
Oh my goodness, what is happening in your background?
Blue is getting in his airplane and flying away at the end of the podcast. Here we go. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the GameCola podcast. Have a wonderful time of day.
Yeah, I think it was the lawnmower guy.
To this podcast, and we'll see you next month. Goodbye, everybody.
Very organized.
It's Morbin time.
So I was walking away from my regular microphone while I was doing that, but I had to carry my phone with me, so it just sounded like I was being weird.
It did. Can confirm.
Yeah, I'm gonna morb out.
That's funny.
No.